Buenos dias. We are playing Tin Pan Alley Tuesday today. Let me go post a link on our website. Website is jollyrogerukulele.com, and I am getting my link here, copy, and I'm going to also tweet us out while everybody is getting loaded in. Jolly Roger Ukulele is the site where I post everything that I write, and a great place for you to stop by and get some sheet music, get you're on the road to playing in a more interesting and diverse way than you might have played in the past, and join an ensemble of pretty legitimate players. I mean, we do play ukulele, so how legitimate can we be? But we can definitely take ukulele to a next level, and that's hopefully what we're doing every day around here. This is Irish and Irish, Celtic, Scottish, and Welsh music this week. But on Tuesdays, we take a break from whatever we're doing and we play a little bit of Tin Pan Alley. We're going to play the same two songs as we played last Tuesday, By the Light of the Silvery Moon and Dream a Little Dream of Me. I have managed to be falling behind a little bit in my getting things posted, and so we are playing some stuff we've played in the past, which is fine because hopefully we're getting better at it. Let me put this on Twitter, https://jollyrogerukulele.com. Little thing pops open, and I take this, and I don't know where Tin Pan Alley is. Foundations is in, YouTube covers. Tin Pan Alley. Alright. Toss that on there. Hit tweet, and Tin Pan Alley on the ukulele. That's what we're doing. Tuff-er, ukulele, and baritone. Tin Pan Alley Tuesday. Jolly Roger. Awesome. So we've tweeted. Let me make sure the page is working correctly. And we will have some wounded souls walking in today after last night's orchestra rehearsal, where we're working on jazz. We were all reminded of our mortality by how stinking hard some of that stuff was, and so today we just want to have a lovely time playing a couple of tunes, one from 1909 and one from 1930. And those of you guys that are wondering in, which one would you rather do last? Do you want to do By the Light of the Silvery Moon last, or Dream a Little Dream of Me last? And whichever one that you guys want to do last, we'll do the other one first. How about that? Carol is in from the mountains. Hey, Carol. Sherry is in from Denver, recovering from a recent operation. Kari is in. Kari's recovering from being Kari. It's taken a while. Vicky is in. Sunny and 45 degrees up in Bozeman today. That's nice. Sandy, sound is good. Sandy's up in northern Michigan. They're harvesting sap from the maple trees to make maple syrup. Jackie and Barbara are in. 65 up in Glenville, Illinois. You gotta be kidding me. It's so nice in Chicago area. Do they call it Chicagoland, I think? Whatever. It must be sounding, they're having pretty nice weather up there. Let's see. Uke is totally legit. Carol says, "Don't call us not legit. We are so legit." Yeah, we are. Well, the way we're doing it is very legit. It's just that nobody else is doing it this way. We're a lone voice in the forest a little bit. We're gonna change. We're gonna either cut the forest down or we're gonna get more voices. One of the two. Ronnie is in from Overcast, New Mexico. Still 58 degrees down there. Just not able to get warmed up down there. Janice in from Sydney. It's beautiful sunrise in Sydney. Janice has to wake up super early to join us. Like, the first thing in her day is this. So poor thing. Diane, good afternoon. So beautiful. I have, because of the until the sun gets a little further north, I have to block all of the sun out with this black curtain, so I can't even look outside. So but Diane tells me it's nice out. I'm willing to believe her. And there's Terry. He's in from Cheeseman Park area, which is next to, we're neighbors, and he says it's beautiful outside. And Terry, I don't believe anything he says, but Diane I can trust. Hey, Amy, welcome in. Rita is in from the Chicagoland area as well. Bruce in from Virginia, 70 degrees there. Kari wants to do Dream Last. Okay, Vic is in from Eugene. Cloudy up in Eugene, supposed to be, right? Nancy is in. Red, light last. What? Oh, do. Okay, so we got so 2 votes. So we're competing. Kari was first. That's the only thing. Red. Jacqueline is in. By the way, Red, I don't have my noise machine here, so you don't get a fanfare today. Cindy in from Viking Land. Linda says, after last night's class, I was trying to get that bossa nova rhythm thing. I know. Nice. So yeah, you just go to YouTube and look at bossa nova. Just look up a lot of bossa nova. Dun 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 dun. Okay, let's see. Kay says Dream last. 2 for Dream is last. Chris is in. Good to see Chris. Patricia is in. Barb is in. Judy is in. I'm sure out of practice. Oh, I thought you meant like you've used up all your practice and you just can't do it anymore. Yeah. Valerie is in. Made it through the end of today. Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, heck yeah, you made it, Valerie. Good to see you. Elizabeth, 68 degrees and cloudy. Sweater weather up in northern Colorado. We're going to get some legit snow here. Linda is in. A little cloudy today. Linda, I saw you on the news. Oh, my gosh, it rained like crazy in Maui yesterday. You notice when Linda walks in, she's like, yeah, I'm in Maui. Weather's perfect. Walking on the beach. There's some whales out there. This is what she tells us. Then you have to watch the news, and they're like, well, let's see. First they had an earthquake. Then they had a tsunami. Last night they had enough rain to wash Hawaii away. That's a little bit of rain. Glad you're here, Linda. The news might have been exaggerating slightly. Q spying in on y'all. Q thinks she's got to ask permission to come up to hang out with the big kids. Evelyn is here. 60 degrees, pouring rain, lightning, hail, flooding weather. Boy, Evelyn, you're getting your spring rains, huh? You're getting assassinated. Well, we had 2 votes for Dream to go last, so we'll do Dream last. Let's go grab By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Don't intend to talk too much today. Those of you guys that were in last night, you know I beat you up a little bit, and so this hopefully will be a little more approachable. Grab By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Grab the ukulele version, please. Download Ukulele and By the Light of the Silvery Moon. I do like this idea of Tin Pan Alley Tuesday, so I'm going to keep it going for a while. We'll just rotate the Tin Pan Alley music through on a regular basis. We'll try to have 2 every Tuesday. And the thought process, again, behind a lot of this is I am terrible, and I know it doesn't serve you to just throw music at you over and over and over and always doing something new. That's not necessarily the smartest thing that we can do for you as musicians. On the other hand, we are ukulele players, and mostly we're just clowning around with this thing, and mostly we're just trying to get a little better, and mostly we want it to be fun, and mostly we like to have new music. Tablet you're reading in particular, it's a little bit like a crossword puzzle. Yeah, you know how to do a crossword puzzle, but every single morning there's still a challenge waiting for you, and so you just keep doing them. And so I tend to think of tablature that way in a very similar sense that, hey, I can probably play just about anything, but I want to try this song, and I want to try that song, and I want to do this new thing. So I throw a lot of music at you, and we don't never dive into it very carefully or thoroughly as we should. And so I think by having some of these tunes roll through and that you've done before in the past gives you a chance to really, find a tune or two, especially these Tin Pan Alley tunes, which you could turn into sort of just showpieces. And when somebody comes by your house for dinner, eventually you're going to be able to allow somebody in your house for dinner again. You say, hey, I've been working with this online ukulele class, and I can play By the Light of the Silvery Moon. And you pull it out, and nobody at the table knows what the heck it is, but they just think it's fabulous, right? And so that's one of the reasons to be doing what we're doing, among others. Let's see, Linda. or in Kihei, where I live, hardly ever. Oh, no. Oh, Linda happens to be in the part that just has the whale watching and the beautiful beaches and the perfect sunsets and none of the rain. So, see, you hear on the news, oh, it rained in Maui, really terrible, and you picture Maui as this little island in the middle of the ocean. You don't realize there's multiple geographical, or is it geographical? Multiple, what do they call it? Ecosystems there in one island. Trying to play duets with my granddaughter, and she puts me to shame. Yeah, don't. First of all, if your grandma and your grandkids come over and you teach them to play ukulele, they are going to get better than you, and you're going to want to assassinate them. And as a ukulele player, I would understand. As a human being on the planet, I will remind you, it is discouraged to beat children up, and I don't necessarily think that that's right, but that's what they tell me. All right. By the light of the silvery moon, ukulele style, baritone players. Looks like you got a pretty easy go on your chords here. So let's see how you do. Welcome in, Dennis. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Bach, 1, 2, 3, and then we play 1, 2, 3. Isn't that a cute song? Now let's talk about a couple of things. Just earlier in the previous class, we were talking about staccato playing and how you bring other right-hand voicings to what you're doing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I want to take just a moment to go through a few areas in this song, and then we'll try them out on baritone. But think about this. Q says, "Hey, can you tell me what does Tin Pan Alley mean exactly?" So Tin Pan Alley, guys, for those of you who don't know, 1900 to 1935, 1940, 30-year period. The major music publishers were all located in a small area in New York City, and that area became known as Tin Pan Alley because theoretically you'd walk down the street and there would be piano music coming out of every window, and they were all writing songs and then publishing them. So it was quite a notable area, probably from the very late 1800s, 1895-ish or so, clear into, past into the Depression era. All of the music was being published there in a small area in New York City, and they called that Tin Pan Alley. And so all the music that came out of that area is now considered Tin Pan Alley music. Basically, the way to think about Tin Pan Alley music, it is all of the music that happened before they got electricity. And about 1890s, a lot of both in Europe and in America, there's a lot of industrialization, a lot of people moving to the cities. The old attitude of you have to play classical music or church music, and that's it. You're not allowed to play anything else. That whole thing was kind of going away, and a lot of popular tunes, just tunes that were fun about love and sweetness and all that, were being written in that Tin Pan Alley era. And a lot of the music is super fun and super sweet. It would have been considered complete pablum. It would have been considered the I'm trying to think of the Andy Gibbs, the Gibb brothers kind of music, or compared to, it just would have been sort of the disco era type music, right? It was stuff that meant to be foxtrots and stuff that was meant to be danced to and all this stuff. A lot of musicians look down on that music, and they've never really come around to it at all. That's what we're doing, is we're going to bring it back, and it's great music. So much of it is really well done. And so that's what was going on in Tin Pan Alley era. And so a lot of the music from the 20s and 30s is what we'll be focusing in on. Let's see. Pauline made it in. Elizabeth for LG. Blue Moon, a classic pop song written by Richard. Okay, 1954. Okay, yeah. And the Brill Building, I paid homage to there several years ago. Yeah, so the buildings are still there. It's just that now there's bankers in there. So that's the music that's Tin Pan Alley considered. And it's always going to be pop tunes. It's always going to be fun to play. And it's purposely rejecting two schools of thought. The classical school of thought, which is you play Beethoven and Mozart and that's it, and you have to be serious about music. Or church music, you can play this music. It's not as hard to play as classical music, but it's every bit as important because it's about religion. And so those are the two main schools of thought. When you go into old music, from the 17th and early 18th century, it's a little bit of a slog because it is basically classical music or church music. And then as the cities came around to having young people, and again, women were getting jobs and had some money to spend, and they wanted to go out and they wanted to do things, and so dance clubs and eating out at restaurants and all that stuff was happening. And along with that, they started having recordings of music where people were sharing that, not widely yet until electricity got more readily available and recordings got a little better. And so that's what they were doing at that time. So hopefully a little bit more than I needed to tell you, but it's a fascinating moment in musical history, and it's unique in the world. It only happened in New York City, and all of that music just got mailed out to everybody else in the world, and then once they plugged in and they turned on electric guitars, then everybody forgot about all of this music, unfortunately. Then forget about it, just stopped playing it, and we started playing rock and roll. Let's talk about technique. If you start off at the beginning, right? That's the beginning. That's pretty sweet, soft, subtle. Now you got da 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 dum. Now things are going to get exciting, right? Dun da dun da dun. And you could do, because things are getting exciting, put a little more oomph behind your F chord there. And now that you're kind of at the top of the aggressiveness. Okay, high, dun, dun. As you're bringing it down a little bit, you should bring it down a little bit too. Okay, and I would probably think about, hey, that first beat of measure 6, you're in the G7, why not make that a little bit of a staccato one? If you're at 5, okay, so be mindful as you're playing along on a tune like this that's relatively playable. Be thinking about what can I do voicing wise from my ukulele to be maybe a little different or a little more interesting. Go back through, let's try it with claw and see if any other sort of sneaky ideas are going to show up here. From the top, with your claw, go. Now, right there, you know something crazy is about to happen, right? You're like, all right, D minor, melody notes on 5, got to do this daggone bar chord, right? So you might, there, if you're busy playing claw, well, this is a place to change your attack strategy. Instead of going, maybe drop in a strum. And here's another thing. Music teachers don't like to tell you this, but you've got the hard part coming up, and it's hard because the melody is going to go way up the neck, right? And the chords are subsequently, because of that, are going to get very complex and very difficult to play. It's probably to your benefit to think about, I'm going to attack this a little bit differently than the rest of the song, and maybe create a scenario where I could slow it down just a little bit to get to have a better shot at getting it right. Okay, and you guys know I don't care about getting it right, but I do like that we've made smart decisions when we get to a hard part that's going to help us create better music. So if I get to measure 12 and I see 5 5 5 7, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. I want to get a little more dramatic, possibly, really get in as much prettiness as I can, try to get as much sustain out of my ukulele, so that maybe I'll cover up any sort of playing challenges I run into. It's 8, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, strum. I've been playing too much baritone and guitar. I'm overshooting my tens. So now we know. All right. So I'm at 12. I'm going to do the D minor bar chord. Then 5 7 8. I'm probably going to use my pinky on that 7. Then I'm going to slide up, bar on 7, F shape in front. Now that 8's the hard one to get to. The last 8 in measure 13, your F chord or F note, is pretty hard to play because you're going to have to move your middle finger to get there, and then put it right back to get the next chord. Okay, so you can do that whole measure without moving anything other than the 10. So I can get my dun da dun da dun through there pretty easily. So if I take 12 and 13 relatively slowly, make sure I get those clean. They're all quarter notes. I can play that maybe just not urgently, maybe not way out of time, but a little bit slower, or at least give the quarter notes full value through there, because that's the hardest part going. Then the rest of this is going to be pretty straightforward. So go from 12, ready, go. Oops, let me get on to 5. Ready, go. And now the last hard moment here, you got your bar on 2 and your pinky way down here on 7. Now that looks like a Jake Shimabukuro chord, right? Okay. And it sounds beautiful. If you can't do it, then you can't do the 2s. So you would end up down here on your 7s. And then jump down. Okay. Or you don't even need to do the second 7 if you can't do the bar with your pinky on 7. Then you're just going to do the 7 by itself, and then jump down. And you can just use a 0 there. It's a D chord. You don't need that other 7. You don't have to get that second 7. And then you go on to measure 16, where the song returns just as we did it before. Okay, and before we kind of hit that G7 hard. Okay, so we would soften that up and play that a little prettier there. So be thoughtful about that as you're putting a piece of music together, and you're like, you know what, this song's only 18 measures. I'm going to just keep playing it until I get it. And I would give yourself permission to take 12, 13, 14, and 15 at a little bit more leisurely pace, and because it is different than the rest of the song, play the rest of the song a little more aggressively, right? And that way when you drop in, then your silvery beams will bring love dreams. We'll be cuddling soon. Right, let that be a little bit more sweet, a little more saccharine in it, and then the rest of it, by the light, bum 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 bum, of the silvery moon. That way you get a different feeling or a different texture from the front of the song and the bottom of the song. And that's something that instrumentalists get to do that I think is very weird. It's way underutilized by ukulele players. Is one song, lots of different textures, lots of different attack strategies. Use your skill set. You haven't worked this hard to get here to not use this stuff, right? And yeah, I like doing the same thing as you do. Making everything all soft and pretty. It sounds beautiful, but we don't always want to do that. And so sometimes I would say probably I do that way too much. I think it's a good idea for you on almost every song to be thinking about, do I really need to do this with my thumb? Do I really need to do it with the claw? Can I mix it up? Can I do some notes staccato and other notes legato? Can I bring in other decorative notes around there and all that sort of stuff? Okay, let's go grab the baritone version. Let's see if we can put some of this in play here after I'm busy all telling you should do this, and then let's see if we can do it. All right, baritone version, By the Light of the Silvery Moon. All right. Ukulele players, looks like you're all set. D7, remember, is just to open here, and then your E minor is here. And you have an A chord at 15. Okay, that's that. And everything else you guys know. All right. Again, think about different textures as you're playing through there. Let's see, catch this. Sound is good, but there is a hiss. Here's the radio. No, what's happened is I had a major catastrophe getting things up and running today, and I put on a little bit too much gain into the microphones, and so there's no there is a fan running on the laptop, but it's very little teeny tiny fan. The hiss you're hearing is from the gain that I overdid on the microphones. I have 4 microphones running on this software, but only 2 microphones in reality, so I don't know what the other 2 are up to, but I'm afraid to delete any of them until the end of the broadcast today to figure out what the heck happened there. But I know I've got the gain turned up on the microphones a little too high, and that's the hiss you're hearing. All right, from the top, thunk. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Terrible ending. Or you could do. Alright, slow it down, do something. And again, remember, guys, we play ukulele in all possible ways. All possible ways. Whatever you're doing now, try it a different way the next time. Whatever you're doing the time after, try it a different way. But that's when you're a soloist. That's when you're playing tough uke. When you're an ensemble, you have to have a conversation with your ensemble partner. And Kari is here, and she's in a small group here in town. And when they are working on stuff, they're always chatting it up, trying to figure out, you gonna do this, you gonna do that, I'll try this, you do that. And when you're in ensemble, we all have to agree, hey, everybody's gonna do different things, just like we do every day here. Hey, baritone players, here's your chords. Ukulele players, here's your chords. Hopefully, when you're newer, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But as you get a little further down the road, pluck, 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 and then thump, 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 and then arpeggios, and then the boom chucks. Right? Is this in 4/4? Let's see. By the light of the silvery moon, I want to spoon to my honey all bloom loves to honeymoon. Da 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 da. Boom chucks. Okay, sounds ridiculous, but at least we tried, right? So let's see. All right. Where did I leave off? Q says, "Oh, love the explanation of Tin Pan Alley." Yeah, Tin Pan Alley it's a place, it's a time, it's an idea, and it's one of those moments in time that kind of got away on us. It was sort of this moment when things were getting, people are going out in the cities living a life that we would recognize prior to, city life becoming a thing. We would not have recognized life in the middle 19th century for the most part, because we'd have been working on a farm. But as the 20th century got started, people were moving into cities, getting in factory jobs, doing things that looked a whole lot more like we did today, and the music followed along, clear up until electric guitar showed up, and then whoosh, wipe off all of that, and let's get going. Okay, we're going to play the devil's music. Well, the 8 in measure 13 is easier to get, but you pay for it. Yes. So as with all things in music, I am always trying to get you the most playable versions that I can. And if everything was playable, we'd be kind of bored. There's always something in every song that's like, really? God darn it. And then Cindy's ending out with a G6 at the end, which is not an altogether terrible idea, right? Be adventurous with. You guys should also know when I'm writing out arrangements, I pretty much stick with a fairly vanilla arrangement of it for the most part, and then I have this notion that you're going to bring your level of creativity in and make adjustments to those arrangements, or not. If you're newer and you're like, I don't know how to do that stuff yet, then you just have something nice to play. But if you've been around a while, you start questioning, and that's really what we want you to do as artists is. Hey, this works perfectly fine, but what if I change the last chord? What if I put a boom chuck in there on first the beginning pickup note? Do you have the B flat chord in place, but just strum 2 and 3? Great question. So on so let's talk about pickups. I boom chuck everything down. Amy, like, everything's getting a boom chuck from now on. That's it. Everything's boom chuck. You know what? If you watch Hawaiians play ukulele, they all do the chunk stroke. Boom cha, boom cha, boom cha, boom cha. And you're like, dudes, be a little bit more creative. Tin pans are also cheap pianos. Oh, I didn't know that, Vic. That's something interesting. Read it. Some people do boom chucks for 3-4 times. Yeah, that's probably a little bit different concept. But yeah, read it. You can absolutely do that. I wanted to talk about Q's question. I don't know if I understand the question entirely, but the question really is, hey, how do we deal with pickup notes? So on By the Light of the Silvery Moon with baritone, the note it is by the light. Now, do I include that chord on that? I don't. Pickups are pickups. They're not part of the chord structure. They're not part of the song. And so I don't think about as anything other than a lead into this. Okay, if I'm a singer, I don't really need the chord. By the light of the silvery moon, right? Obviously I'm not a singer, so I need all the help I can get. But I don't want, if I see a pickup on a piece of music, those first two notes stand on their own. What's probably happening there, is you take a look at, all right, if the song is in G, A, B, C, D, it's probably a D7. Most pickups, and by most I mean 51%, are going to actually be the fifth of whatever your main chord is. And so in this case, by the light, and you notice you got this note, which isn't in either of the chords. B, well, it's technically in the G chord. Okay, bwam, bwam, tension, D7 chord. By the light of the silvery moon. So usually pickups are, if you had to put a chord on it, you would put the fifth of the main chord of the key on there. So in this case, and it actually is makes sense, you got a B, and then that C note is really the seventh of a D chord, the dominant seventh of the D chord, doing your lead in. But don't overthink that. Just if you see a pickup, those notes are just by themselves. Don't worry about any chord underneath them. The only time that you would see that in any more detail, a lot of times a pickup note will happen in the middle of a song, and most of the time that's going to be the seventh, the fifth of the main key's chord. That's a complicated way of saying that. All right, there. So there's By the Light of the Silvery Moon. We've talked about attack strategies. While we have a baritone in my hand, let's go grab Dream a Little Dream. Baritone version, Dream a Little Dream. And I'm peeking through it going, well, this doesn't look too bad. Clear up until measure 22, and then it looks miserable. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. So this is a much more jazzy piece, a lot harder to play. Okay, last night we made everybody cry with their sad things. Ukulele players, these are chords you're going to have to look up, right? Go grab the chord sheet, go grab your app, and when you're in accompaniment here, I use on some of the easier songs I will put the ukulele chords on the baritone and so on. But on a long complicated song like this, if you're accompaniment, your job is to go sit down and figure out what the chord shapes look like on your instrument. And so E, you're like, all right, geez, here, right? And then C7, oh shoot, that's way down here, right? And so you got to start, the more you do it, the more you'll get comfy with it. And it's an important skill to have, is just to know all of your chords. But when we're playing jazz tunes like this, a D9 is not going to be in your head. It's not in my head. I have to go look it up every time. And a C sharp 7. Yeah, I know it's a C sharp. I know it's a C7 sharp, but how does that look like as I'm playing? These types of things you go look up. Okay, but I would say as ukulele players, you want to have all of your majors, all of your minors, and all of your dominant sevenths, the ones it's just a plain 7 in your head. And then over time, certain ones will keep showing up. G minor, a lot of the minor 7s, some of the major 7s will start getting stuck in your head. Ninth, I always know the shape of a ninth, I just don't know exactly which ninth they're asking for and where it sits on the fretboard. So a lot of the stuff you'll end up looking up. Dream a Little Dream, baritone version. We're going to play down through measure 8, come back to the top, and then play down to the bottom, skipping measures 7 and 8. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. top. Second ending. Oh, isn't that pretty? There's a song where probably you do want to bring just your slow, beautiful, lengthy, let it smooth type of playing to it. I don't see the middle section there is a little bit more aggressive, you know. Dun 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 dun. Right, but the rest of it is very, very soft and pretty, and probably no reason to bring anything other than your thumb and your patience to it. The other thing I was thinking about on that is we don't talk about it often because it leads to the dark side. But if you happened to own a electric ukulele and an amplifier, this is the type of song where you would crank the reverb way up. Most of the songs that I get these days, somebody says, "Hey, have you seen this kid on YouTube? He plays ukulele," and it's usually some little boy, and he's, you know, like 7, and he's playing lickety split, and they have the reverb in the chorus turned all the way up on his amplifier, and it sounds absolutely horrible to my ears. I'm like, you know what? That kid's going to grow up, and he's going to throw his amplifier away because it sounds ridiculous. By the way, you're grabbing the ukulele version of Dream a Little Dream. But for you as a player, if at some point you're like, you know what, it's probably time for me to start thinking about playing the coffee shop gigs, you know, or not even that, but you know, it's one more way to learn how to play by getting a ukulele with a pickup in it, and then you know, learning about how to handle an amplifier and handling reverb and all that stuff. And a song like this, where you really want to have long, beautiful sounds, the only way to really successfully pull that off is with an amplifier and some reverb in it. And you play slow, aggressively, let every note has to matter when you're plugged in. And so that's another, this is one more way to think about this. All right. Ukulele version of it. Let's take our time through it. Enjoy the ride. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. To the top. Whoops, I went into the first inning. Whoops, I played in the first inning. Let's go to measure 9. 1, 2, ready, play. 11, a little more aggressive. Hear the soft. That's a good arrangement. So one note I'm changing, measure 14. Measure 14, the last note, it should not be a 0, it should be a 3 on that same string. That should be a C note rather than an A note there. I suppose you could do a B flat. No, it's too much. Put a 3 on that first string in measure 14. Last note should be, instead of a 0, make it a 3. Other than that, I think that's a cool piece of music. Both of the songs today are short enough where you could make them part of your repertoire. You could turn them into a thing, right? And so we won't see them roll around again for a while. So don't forget them, man. Those are sweet little tunes. I'm going to just continue. I got stacks and stacks of Tin Pan Alley music. They're in the original sheet musics around here. Plus, I got who knows how many in my computer. And I will be, just we're gonna save 1923. That's my plan. That's me, you, us. We're gonna pull it out of the trash can and reclaim it. And we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. Now, Tin Pan pianos. That's pretty good. Tin Pan pianos. Also, not unimportant, pianos were finally affordable about 1890 to 1910, 1920. And a lot of cities ended up having to pass rules about how late you could play your piano and when and where and why and how, because everybody was getting pianos. At least all of the white people were getting pianos. And so it became kind of a problem that everybody was learning to play piano at that point. And as you know, those of you who've taken piano, it's kind of hard to do, and so regular working class type people were getting pianos, and of course because of that they were learning a little bit about music. And here comes along the ukulele, which people were like, oh, this is way more fun, and so that probably those Tin Pan pianos probably led to some helped that ukulele craze happen in the the 1915 to 1930s or so. So yeah, all this stuff kind of works together magically, doesn't it? Kind of fun. Hope you guys had fun today. Hope you learned something. Be aggressive, be soft, be staccato, be legato, be different than the guy sitting next to you playing, and that's what we're working on here. Nancy says her inner flapper really loves this music. Hopefully, all you ladies, that was a time when the women's movement was a big deal, and they were getting the vote or trying anyway, and they were finally had options, and they could be more than just somebody's husband. And it's all this time period when all that stuff started happening. Super exciting time in the world. Let's see. Valerie said, just got an email regarding my Amazon Smile donation to RMU. Please consider using Amazon. Oh yeah, because I never talk about it, but thank you, Amazon. If you have not set up another charity that you care about, and you shop on Amazon, you can set up Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra as your preferred charity, that money doesn't go to me. That goes to the orchestra, and then the orchestra. Obviously, I'm out. I end up going around and giving away ukulele like crazy. We'll go do a library class, and there's some little kid, and I know that there's no way he's getting a ukulele. So I'll meet his parents at the door, and I'll be like, I'm going to give him this ukulele, and it's cool. He's not stealing it. And so we give away ukuleles away at these library things, and we just do a lot of work in the community here, trying to get music education out to people who might not otherwise get it. So thank you for bringing that up, Valerie. I should put that on the website. I forgot about that. And you could just set it up anytime, unless you're already given to another charity, then obviously keep giving to them. Barbara, thanks for being here. Cindy, kind of like that B flat. Yeah, try it. Try B flat. It is a C7 measure, and so tossing in the B flat there might create a coolness. Felt a little too rough to me, but try it. Evelyn, good to see you. Nancy, Nancy's inner flapper. Bruce. I love these tunes. Yeah, I love them. I love them. It's just, it is fun. It's like digging through a trash can to get them too, and it just sounds. There's such joy in them. Talk about quarter note triplets, please. What is it? One King Kong, three King Kong. We will. So one of these days, Kari, we will need to on Girl from Ipanema for sure. So thanks for bringing that up. I'll remember to talk about it at some point. Ronnie, fun class, beautiful music. Thanks, Gary. Have a blessed day. Ronnie, go out and knock them dead. Jacqueline, good to see you. Thanks for being here. You've been a religious attendee. Barbara, my husband's granny played piano for the song. Isn't that something? We're at the age, all of us, where we're like a lot of that's getting lost. But man, turn of the century, 1920s, 1930s, people really did have jobs playing the piano in a movie theater. It's incredible to think about. Most of those people are gone now, but it's amazing. Yeah, thanks, Sandy. Good to see you. Sherry, hope you're feeling better. Terry, good to see you, bud. Amy, you're welcome. Diane, fun to see them in the Uke in the Park group. Uke in the Park group, guys. Absolutely. Weather's getting better. Just grab your sheet music, go down, and have your friends who don't do this style, they play the chords, you do the rest of it. And then, of course, teach them the rest of it, too. Not all ukulele players want to do this. Almost none of them want to do this, but I'm telling you, I'm going to hand you the keys to the kingdom. All right. Dream a Little Dream is beautiful and so fun to play. Yeah, good. Love it, Kat. That makes me happy. Kari, you're welcome. Kat, cool. I'm changing my charity now. I hate my old charity. They are stupid. No, I would love you. Obviously that money goes to music education, and so if you feel like if you're not already giving it to somebody, that's what we do it with it. Janice, good to see you. Tell Mary hi. Patty, King Supers too. Yeah, and and then the locals, guys. Hopefully you're already signed up with King Supers. That money is good money. So if you get signed up at the grocery store, if you go to the grocery store and you haven't picked a charity, especially those of you guys here in Denver with King Supers, you really want to do that. The check I get from King Supers every quarter is shocking. I'm like, seriously? And I know not all of the orchestra members do that, so it's really good. And King Supers does a great job supporting local charities. So get signed up with them. Elizabeth, good to see you. Chris, you can finally do bars now. Yes. Yes, right? Well, little by little. That's exciting. Very good, Chris. Love to hear that. Hey, Clay, good to see you, buddy. Q, do you have any give a kid a ukulele? You know what we do? We have, that's what we do is we don't just go hand out ukuleles. What we do is we give classes, and sometimes depending on the class and the situation, sometimes we bring ukuleles and then we take them back at the end of class. Sometimes they get to keep the ukuleles, and it's usually a 2 or 3 step process to do that. But yeah, Q, we are always, you can't see it, but I have a whole wall of soprano ukuleles, these $40 ukuleles. We give them away a lot. I go through a lot. I order them by the case. And then when they come in, it's like, oh, God, I got to set all these up. But they end up with really nice ukuleles, and we do use the money that the orchestra collects for that fund. So thanks for asking about that. Vicki, thank you again. See you tomorrow. Have a great day, Vicki. Good to see you. Fran, thanks for being here. And Ronnie. any recommendations for a uke amplifier? I do have them. You should send me an email, Ronnie. That's complicated. That's a complicated thing. But ukulele is surprisingly challenging to amplify because there's no bass in it, and all of the amplifiers are assuming that there's going to be bass in there. But I have a couple of choices that I think are pretty good that will are not very expensive, and it'll give you a chance to get something in your house and be practicing with an amplifier. I should spend a little time talking about that one of these days, and I will. So, but if you are interested in getting an amplifier, I can give you some suggestions that are not very expensive to get you on that pathway. So, all right, guys, have a lovely day. Good to see all of you. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Again, there's only a couple things that are going to make you a great ukulele player. One is practicing a little bit, and two is showing up a lot. And so keep coming around, and we'll make that happen. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody.